Okay, we're going to get going. Thanks for joining us on our second customer webinar. We're excited to bring you the latest news from our content and product teams and to discuss how you can apply concept, learn, unlearn, and relearn in order to make continual improvements to your L&D strategy. I want to give our panelists some time to talk today. So Amy, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Amy Weldon. I'm the Director of Customer Success for Go1 in the Americas. I'm based out of Salt Lake City, and I know many of you who have joined, and for those that I haven't had the pleasure yet, I hope to work with you one-on-one in the future.
Shannon?
Great. I'm Shannon Herrera. I am the Content Curation Manager here at Go1, and I'm excited to give you an update on what's going on in the world of content.
Awesome. And just for housekeeping, today's webinar is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be circulated to all of y'all, along with a copy of the slide deck. So we'll get that to you after the call. So we're going to begin with an update from Shannon, who will walk us through insights on recent learning trends and outline kind of the latest updates to our Go1 Content Hub. Our product team, Amy, is going to dive into an outline of the upcoming improvements to Go1 experience, both within the platform and through our one player. As well as our Microsoft Teams integration, and then kind of outline how continual improvements to our L&D strategy can help you achieve learning, unlearning, and relearning. If you think of any questions during today's presentation, please throw them in the Q&A or in the chat. I'll be keeping a tab on both, and then if there's any questions that we can't get to, we'll collate some responses and send them back to you at a later date. Throughout today's, we're gonna send you some polls today. We're gonna do some polls during the seminar today. Please vote on those polls when they pop up. We're really excited to learn from you as you learn from us, and then we'll select some responses and share those back as well. So let's go ahead and dive in with Shannon.
All right, thank you. Super excited to be here. So if you go to the next slide, Jake, just to give a few updates on high-level consumption information in the Go1 platform that, it's always a little bit interesting to see how our content's being used, things like that. So over the last year, we see that the average monthly minutes per user is about 2 hours and 46 minutes, which is really great. Industry-wide, we hear that most employees are spending about 2 hours a month in learning. And so to see that our consumption rates are a little bit higher than that is really fantastic. We also see that the average completion rate is about 65, which is around where we would anticipate being. We'd love it to see a little bit higher, but what that tells us is that a lot of learners are going in, and sometimes they may be finding content that they get what they need out of it, maybe you don't complete it, but I think over 50% completion is really great. So we're really excited about that. So if you go to the next slide, just talking about a little bit of our of new content that is on our system and what's popular. So from a consumption standpoint, some of our popular courses we see, preventing discrimination and harassment is obviously really high on the HR list. We continue to see that. We're seeing Excel skills continue to be a hot topic. I think as people are home and upskilling or reskilling, Excel tends to be a focus of that. For health and safety, we see hazard communication being popular, and then soft skills, business writing, and then healthcare and social assistance. Emotional intelligence is a really hot topic right now. I think that we're seeing that in the industry, and we're also seeing that with our customers. And then to talk a little bit about some new content that we have from existing providers that we're excited about, we have Will Interactive Emotional Life Skills at Work. This is a really fantastic course about monitoring your emotional health as well as those of your coworkers. I really love that course. We had Treliant give us their next versions of their harassment courses, so making sure that you're up to date on your compliance needs. Votto and Workrite have provided us with some French-Canadian compliance content, so for our Canadian customers, that's super exciting that we'll have it in both languages. Process management, we have some new Six Sigma courses, and then the Expert Academy has provided us with some customer service management series that is definitely worth checking out. If you haven't checked out Expert Academy in the past, they're kind of cool. They're a little bit more like TED Talks, but they're really engaging and have some really good experts to talk about different areas, and I really enjoy their courses. So moving on, what we're seeing in the industry, one thing that has recently come up is the ISO 45003, which is a new international standard for how to manage the mental health of your employees. This is really the first time something like this has been put together as an international standard, and we think it's really important. And for your organization, this is a really good thing for you to take a look at and to see how you can implement in your organization. It helps support the mental health of your employees, as well as just creating a positive work environment and a framework for how to manage the psychological health and safety to help your organization be resilient and enhance performance and productivity. And then what that means for our relationship with you here at Go1 is that we're actually going to help you create learning paths that will actually work towards these standards, ensure that you as a company are meeting those standards and that your employees are getting the assistance that they need. So over the next couple of months, you'll see that we'll put out some playlists and pathways, and then going along with the mental health month in May, we'll have some launching of new mental health courses for your employees to take part in. So we're really excited about that. It's such an important part of business and such an important discussion for us to have. So if we go into new things that are coming, we talked about Harvard Managed Mentor in our last webinar. We're super excited to say that that content has launched. So we have 41 of their courses, and they're fantastic. They're really great. They're a combination of videos, job aids, as well as a bunch of additional resources that the employee can have access to from Harvard. So definitely check that out. There are some restrictions with Harvard. If you don't have access, reach out to your CSMs and they can give you more information on that. And then just as a heads up, we're having a webinar in May with Harvard. So that will be, I think, really interesting. They'll talk about some of the things around leadership and their different topics. And I'd encourage you, I think that will probably be provided as a recording to our US audience, but we're really excited for that webinar. And then a couple of things that we're looking forward to. edX, we also talked about this in our last webinar. I want to give you a little bit of an update on our time frame for this. It looks like we're probably looking at May for the launch of that. And so we are excited for those courses, and I think that it'll be a really great experience once those get launched. And then one new partnership that we're really excited about is our Coursera relationship. This is a new relationship that we just signed on. It won't be their entire library. It will be their project courses, which basically allow learners to go into different systems and practice as they learn those systems. So it's about 1,600 courses that we'll have with them. There will be some restrictions on licenses for this. So once we get closer, we'll communicate that out to our customers, exactly how that's going to work, but we're super excited for that partnership. So definitely looking forward to that. Yeah, so that's what we've got from the content land. If you've got any questions, feel free to put them in the chat window.
All right, we're going to launch a poll. What do you consider to be your primary business objective for learning and development? Our choices are compliance. I just need to make sure that my organization is not going to be penalized for not meeting compliance rules. Or is it professional development? Or is it employee value proposition? Or is it getting buy-in for a budget, or developing a strategy, or finding the right content and tools? The slide does not match the poll. I'm looking at that now. So what do you see as your greatest L&D challenge? We got getting buy-in or budget, developing a strategy, finding the right content and tools, or reporting, measuring, and understanding impact. I think that this is, it blows my mind, because every customer that I talk to has such a different need, right? Based on what your organization is going for. And so providing this kind of information for us is really important to help us tailor how we can support you and what we can get you to. We're going to give this poll just a couple more seconds. Question, is this being recorded? It is being recorded, and we can send the information afterwards. While the poll finishes up, there's a couple of questions about edX and Coursera that Shannon is answering in the chat. So if you have questions about those, check out the chat. All right, I'm going to end polling. Looks like y'all said your greatest L&D challenge. 24% of you thought getting buy-in or budget. 32% of you said developing a strategy. 41% said finding the right content and tools. And 38% said reporting, measuring, and understanding impact. This is a super even split down the middle. So we'll have to take this and figure out how we can best support based on this. It's great. Moving along to product updates. Quick note, VP of Product Layla sends her regrets as she's not able to join us today. Happily, we do have exciting updates on the future of the Go1 experience, brought to you as a pre-recorded presentation from our product marketing manager, Emma. So I'm going to go to the next slide. I'm going to unshare my screen and reshare with it optimized for video and sound. So give me 1 second as I do that. Okie dokie.
Hi everyone, Emma here, Go1's Product Marketing Manager, to give you an update on recent and upcoming releases in the Go1 Platform and Microsoft
Let's try that again. Sorry, friends.
Teams. We'll be conducting scheduled infrastructure upgrades on Saturday the 3rd of April from 3 p.m. until 8 p.m. AEST. Full service will resume thereafter, and we've done our best to avoid popular times for learning to make sure users are impacted as little as possible. This impacts anyone accessing Go1 Learning content no matter which system they access from. As a user, you won't have access to learning from the Go1 Content Hub, Go1 Platform, or Go1 Public API. During this period, if you attempt to access learning content within your system, you'll encounter a page informing you of the schedule improvement. The reason we're doing this is so that we can more efficiently release improvements and enhancements, resulting in a better experience for you and your users. If you want to keep track, click on status.go1.com to receive real-time updates. And if you've got any further questions, reach out to the support team or your customer success manager for assistance. Now onto the Go1 platform. You can now browse playlists by topic within Search and Explore, meaning you can find and categorize the right playlists much faster. Additionally, to save time for playlist authors when creating, you can now simply delete content without leaving the playlist structure. Let's talk about mandatory training, and more precisely, delivering compliance training in an effective manner within the Go1 platform. Compliance training mitigates risk for every organization, and we're focusing on support. The purpose of Go1's compliance project is to reduce administrative effort to deliver mandatory training and improve efficiency within the platform so you can focus on more valuable tasks. This project will touch a number of features across the platform to meet our objective. The initial focus is to improve the ability to choose recurring assignation so you can set and forget recurring training and crack on with those tasks. You can see here how this might look, though the end visual may change. You might wonder how this ties into achievements, which was the focus of our last product update. This is still on track for this year. The work we're doing to improve the assignation rules in the platform will form the foundations for achievements as we're addressing your feedback holistically and prioritizing from there. If you would like to keep track of this project, we've created a status page that you can refer to at any time for predictable updates. Our focus is based on your feedback, and we rely on it to improve Go1 products so they meet your needs every step of the way. Check out the status page for more information on how to get involved. Over the coming months, we're beetling away to improve the performance of our courses for learners who have a poor internet connection, no matter the system in which they're delivered. This work is behind the scenes and won't be visible to your learners, but it's our commitment to make their experience second to none when accessing learning. This project is due to start in April. One of the pieces of feedback that stood out from our last customer webinar from all of you was how you might find compliance training specific to your region more easily. We want to ensure you feel secure that the content you assign is appropriate for your region in a much simpler way. So we're pleased to say that we're now in a position to bring this filter into the product next quarter. We're in the final stages of working with our content providers to gather and go through the necessary steps to validate this information before adding it as a filter in the platform for all users. Although we don't have an exact release date at this stage, we expect this to be released next quarter. Let's see what's new in Go1 and Microsoft Teams. Familiar features in the Go1 platform are now available in Microsoft Teams. If you have the Go1 Learning app for Teams installed, users can now gain access to My Learning within Teams alongside Explore so they can discover and manage their own content outside of the structured learning within the Teams channels built by team owners. No matter what content your learners are engaging in this personal view, all enrollments and completion data is pulled back centrally into the Go1 platform so you can report on usage with confidence. For many, working remotely has compromised the value of blended learning and instilled additional roadblocks for the connection that comes from learning together. Within Microsoft Teams meetings, organizers can now add learning to the meeting agenda for all attendees to take together. This is now live, so reach out to your customer success manager to learn more. Thank you for listening today, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you on what we've shared. As for next steps and keeping the conversation going, we'll be providing a video interview in the coming weeks from our Head of Product and Engineering to answer your questions from today's webinar. Keep up to date with product releases across the board on our website at www.go1.com/blogs. Thank you.
All right, let me unshare and reshare again to get the right sharing going on. Super. There's some really exciting things that was mentioned in there. One, I learned a new word, resignation. And two, we're really excited about the compliance uplift. We're really excited about the Microsoft Teams things. And that's super great. I'm going to go back a couple of slides to the poll because I apparently did the poll wrong. So let's try this again.
That looks like the same poll, Jake.
That is definitely the same poll. I apparently don't know how to do polls, friends. Let's try this again. Primary business objective. There we go.
Yeah.
Yay.
There we go.
There we go.
New poll, everybody. Vote now. Vote now. New poll is the original poll. What do you consider to be your primary business objective for L&D? Compliance, professional development, or employee value proposition? It's interesting. I'm watching this. It's like a horse race. I get to see where the votes are going. And I would have expected compliance because so many of our conversations are around compliance so often. But right now, the poll is reflecting something different. So we'll give it a couple more seconds here. Get your votes in. Get your votes in. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ending poll. This is really exciting, friends. Compliance is at 26%, professional development is at 74%, and employee value proposition is at 13%. This is fantastic because we see repeatedly that there's a digital skills shortage, and so I'm really excited to know that y'all are so focused on the professional development side. All right, continuing on with our slides.
Hi everyone, Emma here, Go1's Product Marketing Manager, to give you an update on recent and upcoming releases in the Go1 platform.
It's the same video. We're gonna move on.
Do another poll.
All right. relaunch polling here. How do I, y'all, I need a training on how to do a training. All right, one more poll, here we go. What topic would be most helpful to discuss with fellow L&D professionals? We're really looking at topics like this, to start kind of kicking off more community engagement and getting more feedback from y'all to help support one another. So there's a new poll that just launched. Can you all see it? Did it pop up?
We're good.
Great. Which topic would be most helpful to discuss with fellow L&D professionals? Do you guys want to learn how to build a learning strategy and business case from each other? Do you want to find time to learn together? Do you want to be proactive and stop reacting? It's one of my favorite things to talk about, this like proactive, reactive state of mind. Do you want to co-create better business value, create ownership of your programs or improve programs, onboarding? Give it a couple more minutes here, a couple more seconds here. Corey mentioned on the last poll that they didn't choose compliance because it's not an objective, it's a requirement. It's not a challenge. I like that. It is just something to be done, right? Where professional development is really an objective. I like that thought process. Okay, a couple more seconds. Get your votes in, get your votes in. We have no barriers to voting here. And the poll closes in just a couple of seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right. 42% of you said building a learning strategy and business case. So I think that's something really great that we can focus on. And then the next one is how to be proactive and stop reacting. That is such a critical component to success. So we will look at how we can cover those. Moving along to Miss Amy.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jake. You can go to the next slide. Today, I'm going to talk about the learn, unlearn, relearn cycle. We've recently published a blog, and we've been doing kind of a lot of promoting around this idea. And so I really just wanted to break down what does learn, unlearn, relearn mean. And for us, it really means, as it relates to sustainable L&D, learning how we work, what we know, we graduate college, we get jobs. There's things that we know in how we normally do business. And I've equated that to I've equated all three of these to mission, visions, and values. I tried to find ways to break this down to make it digestible. But essentially for me, learn means the way we've always done business. Unlearn means, focusing on our vision. Where do we want to go? And then relearning is, how we replace outdated skills and information with new information. So you don't necessarily have to throw away old ideas to relearn. We just need to find new ways of doing business. And when I thought about this a couple weeks ago, you can go to the next slide, Jake. I thought, how can I break this down in terms that really relate to my life? And for me, it's been the pandemic, right? There was the way that we worked prior to the pandemic. We collaborative, most of us were in the office or at our place of business. And then we immediately shifted to this, working remotely, setting up home offices, figuring out kids' school schedules, remote collaboration, what tools do we use, social distancing, and then rework. As the pandemic is coming to an end, I hope people are getting vaccinated, we're getting back out in the world, depending on where you live. What is the future of learning and work look like for us? And I think that we are really at this pivotal point where we can shift how we do a lot of those things because, if you think about 93% of school-age children, so 18 and under, have participated in some sort of distance learning or online learning. And considering that that's what we do, I think that statistic is crazy because in 5 years or less, those children are going to be transitioning into the workforce. And so they already come with a skill set and the expectation that they're doing online learning and that there's paths and plans laid out for them to help them advance. And so I think as L&D leaders, we need to really be thinking about how we can shift and meet people where they're at. In addition to the fact that, I think 18% of the workforce 2 years ago was 65 and older, where we know there's some barriers there to online learning. Not all people, but definitely. And the pandemic has now shifted. They think that post-pandemic, that number will be much lower. People 65 and older won't be in the workplace as much because they've transitioned out over this last year. So it's exciting to see the ways that this pandemic has reshaped the way that we work. So sticking with that kind of, you can go to the next slide, Jake, mission, visions, and values. I sat down and thought about 3 businesses that we've worked with and that learn, unlearn, and relearn strategy and how we've approached them with them. And the number 1 business that I'm going to talk about here, or the first one, is not the number 1. They're just one of my favorite customers, is transportation. It's an airline organization, and they have over 80,000 employees. And when they came to us 2 years ago, their problem was that they needed high quality, specialized leadership content. And so our solution for that was, to really dive down what they did by buying canned content or pre-made content from subject matter experts. Was they eliminated the amount of time that they needed to create training. So anyone that's ever created training, it can take anywhere from 25 hours to 500 hours to create a course. And so when you have subscription to content that's been created by subject matter experts, you can now shift from all the time you would have spent to creating content to really curating and diving down and doing mapping, skills mapping, and figuring out how does this apply to people in your organization. The content that we have is created by subject matter experts, and the time saved allows you to really focus on, mapping and job skills and establishing consistency. So the huge win that we had with this airline was that it really allowed them to rethink the ways that they were training up their leadership program. And that's essentially what we did with them. We did a leadership only program with them to start with. And it was hugely successful because of the amount of time that we then invested in making sure that we were creating career paths for people. So I would say that that's the kind of learn, that's the standard. That's where we all want to be. But I know L&D people a lot of times wear a lot of hats. And so how do we, bridge that gap, and how can Go1 help you with that content mapping and focus on the quality content that you really, really need, no matter what position someone has in your organization. Can you go to the next slide, Jake? And the next, the unlearn. And I like to think of that as the vision. Where do I want to go with my learning? And the company that I chose to highlight is in the renewable energy space, and they're global. They have over 1,200 employees worldwide. And essentially what they were doing before, they began using the Content Hub, which many of you use the Content Hub. You don't use our platform a whole lot. You're accessing our content. But they were able to consolidate 7 off-the-shelf subscription stations and get all of the content that they needed through our one subscription. So there's a couple things that this did for them. One, there was no longer 6 or 7 systems that they had to log in and track learning. And, with compliance training, especially, there's a lot of prodding that has to happen to get people to complete. So with that single source of truth, they were able to get from a 66% completion rate to over 90%. And then I'm sure their executives were really happy that they saved over $200,000 by consolidating all of those 7 different subscriptions into one. And then the next slide. Last, I chose to talk about one of our local companies here in Utah as the relearn cycle. So this company, when they came to us, had no L&D strategy. Their training consisted of paper handouts that they put in their stores. And we've worked with them. They're one of our longest U.S. customers. They've been with us for, I think, almost 5 years. And they just had a really scattered approach to L&D. And it was mandatory compliance only. They would have to, have everyone come from all over the country once a year to do compliance training. It was costly. And then the rest of their training was really, like I said, just those handouts. And so what we did with them was we allowed them to create an onboarding plan to drive that mandatory compliance so that within, a couple of months, every person in the organization and every person being hired into the organization was trained the exact same way every single time. And that then allowed them to focus on creating an upskilling program that there's 5 roles in their organization. And every person in the organization starts with the most basic role, a store associate, and they transition all the way up to a district manager. This company is huge on promoting internal promotion, like they only hire managers and above internally. And what happened was that the lowest engagement level, the store associates, they saw a 20% drop in turnover. But at the manager level, they saw an 80% drop in turnover. And they directly equate that to the learning and development plans that they were able to put in place to allow people to see the opportunity to advance from a store associate all the way up to a general manager. So I think that's how they relearned how to do training, and it has had direct impact. Not to mention, actually, sorry, let me pop ahead to my slide notes here. They saw a double-digit increase in sales in the store because they were more consistently training their store associates how to better present the products, how to be a good salesperson. So just really, really exciting stuff there. And then last slide, Jake, for me. We put together some really great assets for you guys. These are all available as white papers on our website. I've just kind of snapshotted them here to let you think about the topics that they have, but we'll also send out those links in this slide with the recording after this meeting. Just some really great consumption information, new thinking habits, what is the learn, unlearn, relearn cycle? And then when we think about L&D, how are we strategizing to build a really strong digital foundation? Awesome.
Thanks,
That's all
Amy.
for me. Yeah, you're welcome.
Those percentages for the retail customer are crazy. Like the retention rates, that's insane.
Super insane. Yep. Great information.
Okay, one more poll, friends. Here we go. Launched the poll. In which format are you most likely to participate? So like I said, we're really looking at how to build out a community in which we can all support each other. So if y'all could let us know what the best way for you to communicate with your peers and with us is in the poll, we would really appreciate your input. Also, way back at the beginning, somebody said they were in Pittsburgh. I'm going to go to Pittsburgh soon, the city of bridges. I'm really excited. It looks gorgeous. I'm looking at pictures and videos all the time. I want to hike the stairs. It looks fantastic.
Isn't it exciting to be able to talk about those things again?
Traveling again.
Yes.
I know.
People, places,
Really
and things
excited.
I miss the most.
Really excited. Cool. We'll give it 5 more seconds to vote in the poll. We'll go with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Overwhelmingly, 84% of you said attending events and webinars, 48% online discussions and forums, 29% roundtables, video Q&As is up there, podcast interviews, blog collaborations, and involvement in writing white papers and articles. Thank you so much for sharing those thoughts. We're really excited to act on those. I will definitely go get a sandwich with fries and coleslaw when I am in Pittsburgh. Thank you for that recommendation. Okay, ready to explore more? Follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Go1.com, check out our blogs, hit up your customer success managers for anything that you need. We're here for you. We want to be your friends. We want to hang out. We want to come visit. If you need anything from us at all, don't hesitate to reach out, follow along. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. And we like having you as a customer. So thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.